You want the job to be done right. The city wants it to meet city codes. Milwaukee has a number of requirements for contractors who do work here. Not to make things difficult, not to burden the property owner. The regulations help protect the safety and health of city residents and property. So the city suggests you look for licensed and insured contractors like these workers from JDJ Builders when planning home improvements.
First of all, if you have somebody licensed in the trade, that's usually an individual that takes their trade a little more serious. They're probably more knowledgeable about the codes. So the chances that the work that's being done is in compliance with the code is substantially greater than somebody that gets a business card that has an individual's first name and a telephone number that's for a cell phone, and there's no way of really tracking that person down. Secondly, if any of the work that's being done at the project site doesn't comply with the code, the City of Milwaukee has a little more legs toward getting that contractor to do the repairs and get that work corrected.
Jim Klappa is a member of the Nary Home Improvement Council, president of the 1,100-member Metropolitan Builders Association.
Basically, try to hire somebody I feel that would be a member of an association. It'd be the best way of selecting a contractor. And again, going back to references, credibility to contractor, years in business, make sure that you have a contract, make sure everything is spelled out, proof of insurance that they have this. And it's easily to say too, like someone would say, we'll take building permits for this because it is the contractor's responsibility. And it wouldn't hurt to call that community you live in and make sure that once the work started that a permit has been taken for your project. If someone hires a member of our association and would have a problem, you can always go back to the association and make a complaint. We do have an ethics and an arbitration committee to resolve any disputes if it would get to that point.
Here are the basics. Electrical contractors are licensed by the state and city. All electrical work is to be done with a permit. Only licensed and insured electrical contractors can obtain a permit. Plumbing contractors must be licensed by the state and registered with the city. The owner of a residential building can apply for some plumbing permits. If you want to do business as a home improvement contractor in Milwaukee, you must be licensed by the city and certified by the state. Contractors are required to provide proof of liability insurance.
Say, for instance, somebody visiting the project site would fall, get injured. That gives some protection to the homeowner because that contractor's insurance would take care and satisfy any claims against that injured person. And also if there was damage, say, to the person's property. If somebody was working with a torch and a portion of the building caught fire, it would provide for some correction of that without any additional expense to the homeowner.
If you're planning a remodeling project or updating electrical and plumbing, there are some questions you should ask the contractor.
One of the things is a license number. Ask that individual for their license number. Ask that person to demonstrate to you that they're licensed to do work in the City of Milwaukee. Ask who their bonding agent is and if you can get a copy of their bond. Also ask for their liability insurance. You'll see many times a contractor will advertise that they're licensed and bonded and insured, but those are three words that contractors use, roofing and siding, licensed, bonded, insured. They almost think it all runs together, but it doesn't necessarily have any weight unless you see, the documentation behind it. Clearly, any reputable contractor should be able to be providing you with references.
References are the biggest thing of people that you have done work for before. And we even encourage our potential customers to visit one of the sites that we're currently working on and to call somebody that we're doing work for presently, not something in the past. And these are just by having references and insurances and certifications are just a better proof that you're dealing with somebody that's quality and also been in business.
The Milwaukee Development Center is the place to go for people and businesses needing permits for construction or remodeling projects in the city. Development Center staff review the plans to ensure they comply with the Milwaukee and state building codes and the City of Milwaukee zoning code. In nearly all instances, the contractor should pull the permit.
If you're dealing with a reputable contractor, clearly the contractor themselves would want to draw the permit and take ownership and responsibility over their work. If you're dealing with a contractor that's asking you as the homeowner to draw the permit, you have a couple different things taking place right at that time. First off, they're trying to disassociate themselves with the work that's being done and with the department that's responsible to inspect the work. So that should automatically draw a red flag or throw up some type of an alarm as to why is it that I as a homeowner would need to draw the permit. And part of the reason that the individual may be pushing you to draw the permit yourself is because they may not be licensed with this city. And they know if they came in and tried to obtain a permit to work on your house, that they wouldn't be able to walk out the door with it.
Does the project you have in mind require a city permit? Some do, some don't, some may. These are some examples. The Development Center can provide a quick reference guide on its website or answer your questions by phone to determine if a permit is needed for a particular job. The city has some extra incentives to encourage homeowners to get a permit before starting.
For instance, the work is done without a permit to begin with, and our department becomes aware of it. The responsibility to correct the conditions at that property become wholly those of the homeowner. So if the work doesn't comply with the code, the homeowner is going to be responsible to bring that work into compliance, and additionally, any permit that is required, the homeowner will be required to take out that permit. And if the department wishes, they might require that homeowner to pay a quadruple fee for doing the work without first obtaining a permit.
Check the Development Center Permit Reference Guide on the city website at milwaukee.gov or call 286-8211 with permit questions. Whether it's a major home addition or a more minor project, the city wants to make sure the job is done right and protects the safety of its residents. It's your money. City inspectors and contractors say a licensed and insured contractor is a good investment.
We look in our business that people are spending, tens of thousands of dollars to make improvements to their home, to make their lifestyle better, and you want to make sure that you're spending money with somebody that's going to perform as they say they're going to. You get what you're paying for, so just another little hint of how to make sure that you screen these contractors.
Nearly 100 years ago, Pabst Brewing operated a company bar on the corner of 35th and Belite. It's hoped a new enterprise in the long vacant tavern will spur neighborhood development. Yesterday's Heroes is a family restaurant with a theme honoring African Americans who have played an important role in development of the city of Milwaukee and state.
This is a project where we had a vacant building that was sitting for many years. It's starting to become an eyesore in the neighborhood. And so we wanted to have this building come back to life.
The 1907 building might not even be here had it not been for the efforts of the City Historic Preservation Commission. A historic landmark designation in 1998 saved it from the wrecking ball.
So we spent about $465,000 to redevelop this building. And we found some entrepreneurs who had experience running a restaurant come into this project and help us bring the project to life.
The project includes a history of Milwaukee's first African American property owners in a display on loan from the Milwaukee Public Museum. Sully Watson bought a lot at what is now Water and Mason Streets in 1850. Born around 1780, Sully Watson's life began as a slave at a plantation in Virginia. He bought his freedom for $500, moved to Ohio in 1834, and on to Milwaukee in 1850. Sully was quite active in the community. When he died in 1871, around the age of 90, the Milwaukee Sentinel published his obituary on the front page. William Watson, Sully's son, owned a home around what is now 3rd and Michigan. A Mason, like his father, he helped build the second county courthouse at Cathedral Square. Mabel Rainey, Sully's great-granddaughter, was the first black female attorney in Wisconsin. She died in 1986, ending the Watson family line in Wisconsin.
What we want to attempt to do, not only feed people, but we also want to give them a piece of history. And with this, the way we have it set up, and you can enjoy the meal, but you also can walk around and look at some of the photos. And we have a lot of photos of individuals who have played an important role. We have a wall of first African-American police officer was a young gentleman. His name was Joe Minor, and he was the first one to serve on the Milwaukee Police Force. We also have on the wall Val Phillips, who was the first Common Council member, also at a later point moved on to Secretary of State. We also have Ben Johnson, first African-American Common Council president, and Scully Watson, who was the first African-American really to purchase and settle here in Milwaukee. But we also have other individuals from Hank Aaron. We also have individuals, Janetta Robinson, Michael Morgan, who was the first commissioner, African-American commissioner of DCD. So we have quite a few predominant people on the walls, and we hope to grow that over time with other individuals too. And from that, reinvestment fund, which we got $30,000, that was used to help purchase the equipment. Also, we took advantage of what the city has a program called Large Impact Development, which is run out of the Community Block Grant Office. And we was able to receive $150,000 for the renovations and help pay the cost of bringing this project to fruition.
The Lisbon Avenue Community Group wants to see yesterday's heroes serve not only as an anchor for new development, but a way to help all Milwaukeeans learn more about the history of some of its earliest residents.
The weakest link is not knowing something about the people you live with within the city, because Milwaukee has a lot of rich history, and we have a lot of committed people who have stayed in this neighborhood. So it's key that we kind of link together and build our neighborhoods together, because as strong as our neighborhoods are, that's how strong the city would be.
It may be somewhat hidden in the lower level of the Plankinton building at the shops of the Grand Avenue, but it's a museum that's known throughout the world.
Hey, welcome to the International Clown Hall of Fame. Come on in.
Milwaukee is the home of the one and only museum honoring clowning, and we have gained recognition around the world. And we are bringing tremendous amount of recognition to Milwaukee through the clowning community. There's about 50 to 80,000 clowns, we can't quite put a number on it, practicing in the world today.
The Clown Hall of Fame has inducted over 50 clowns during its 14-year existence, many of whom have donated personal belongings such as authentic costumes and oversized shoes. A Wall of Fame displays pictures of inductees and the year they were honored. Some are household names, others are not. Clowns like Bob Keeshan's Clarabelle, African-American clown Bert Williams, Felix Adler with his trademark baby pig, Ringling's Lou Jacobs. His 1966 stamp was the only time a living person's likeness had been depicted on a U.S. stamp.
Emmett Kelly got his start in the circus as a trapeze artist. He and his wife did a double trapeze act, and he started clowning to earn an extra $5 a week on his paycheck. He would clown between the acts. And a lot of people still remember his classic routines. He would sweep a spotlight together smaller and smaller, sweep it under a rug or into a dustpan, and then as soon as he thought the work was finished, he'd resume the sweeping when the spotlight reappeared. Red Skelton had wonderful characters he played, Willie Lump Lump and Clem Cadiddlehopper. We honored Freddie the Freeloader, his tramp clown character. And he was a delightful person to work with. He even wrote us a letter and said, "Thank you for honoring me as a clown." Several times I've performed as a clown, and rarely after the laughter fades away are we remembered or thanked. And we're the first ones called upon when there's a bit of trouble. And he also said he'd rather be known as a clown than a comedian. He said, "Comedians make fun of the audience, but a clown pokes fun at himself. Always think of me as a clown."
In the museum here, we've got a lot of history, and it's important that people look at the history and look at the different types of clowns and see the differences between the clowns, which of course there are, and from costumes and makeup and style of clowning. And you have tramp clowns, which are American origin, and then you have the Auguste clowns, which is what my face is, which is the European style, and then of course the white face clown. So we've got three basic styles which are unique in their own little right.
I don't think of clowns as someone who are born funny or born trying to make people laugh. People that have a heart that want to reach out to others and communicate to others in a different way is what a clown is made up of. And very often in our research we have found that clowns had tremendous difficulties that they had to overcome, especially as children. Red Skelton started working when he was 12 because there was no food on the table. His father died before he was born. His father was a circus clown too. Charlie Chaplin grew up in a workhouse in England because his mother was mentally ill and his father was an alcoholic, but look at what he did with his life. And the really great Grok was another one. Grok came home from school one day and his little brother, who he had played with on the grist mill all the time, drowned himself. And he decided at that moment he would spend the rest of his life bringing joy into people's lives. And he did that so wonderfully. He was just amazing. He spoke 9 languages fluently and played 27 different musical instruments. It was all part of his 45-minute act, which was usually accompanied by a complete symphony orchestra.
The Hall of Fame has an international side, attracting researchers from many countries. It moved here from Delavan in 1996, with a boost from a feasibility study paid for by the City of Milwaukee and Milwaukee Redevelopment Authority. The laughs extend outside the museum with a number of outreach programs. Humor therapy is used to reach at-risk teens in the area in a program called Self-Enhancement Through Laughter and Fun. They bring laughs to the VA Medical Center and nursing homes.
A lot of people don't come to us, so we have gone to them. We have a weekly program at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. It's just simply called Clowns for Children's Hospital. And those clowns are very different than what you'd probably think of as a clown. They aren't this big flamboyant character who comes in and grabs the attention of everybody in a room. They quietly go into rooms and deal with children one-on-one, and they're very, very special people that have an ability to communicate and bring some brightness into a very sad situation.
Not everyone likes clowns. Their looks can scare children, so the museum runs a program to help kids overcome their fears. Arrangements can be made for a guided tour and clown show or take a self-guided tour. There are admission fees. Check their website or give them a call for more information. The Clown Hall of Fame, with its Let the Laughter Loose motto, is another reason to visit downtown Milwaukee.
Clowning is the oldest known performing art form in history, and clowns throughout the ages have done so much to improve the quality of life of people. We all know how important medical attention is when we're ill, but there's another side to that, and our emotions play a great part in healing. And now doctors are recognizing the healing power of humor. You need a roof over your head, you need food, you need love, but you need laughter too, in order to have a good, wholesome life. I think it's very important.
If you were walking down the street and saw a couple of $1,000s on the sidewalk, would you pass by? Local and federal officials say many low-income working families are passing by as much as $4,000 by not taking advantage of the Earned Income Tax Credit. A study by UWM estimates at least $27 million go unclaimed in Milwaukee County every year. The biggest challenge, informing workers about the credit.
I love you, 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 I love you. I love you, 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 I love you. I love you.
Kids, they're the reason you get up in the morning and go to work. And that's a beautiful thing, but sometimes not an easy thing, especially if you're not making a lot of money. That's where the Earned Income Tax Credit can help. If you have one or more children living with you, you may qualify for the EITC, and come tax time, pay less tax, no taxes, or even get a refund. Think of it as a reward for doing one of life's most important and most loving jobs. The EITC, you've earned it, so why not claim it? Visit our website or ask your tax preparer if you qualify. A message from the Internal Revenue Service, working to put service first.
The newly formed Milwaukee Asset Building Coalition kicked off a community-wide effort recently to draw attention to the credit. Employers were urged to launch public awareness campaigns within their companies, to recruit volunteers within the company to help prepare tax returns, to encourage their workers who qualify to claim the credit.
The slogan is Earn it, claim it, get it. And I think that's a pretty good slogan because that's what it's all about. I think most people that know that this is available will want to take it. And your employees really need to know about it, not just for themselves, but for their families. So think of it that way, that there's kids out there that can benefit from this money if their parents claim it.
This is a mechanism for us, literally, to raise the incomes of the people in our state. And it doesn't just go to the people who receive the dollars. Clearly, there's a multiplier effect when dollars come into our community and help create other jobs because of the spending power that can be increased as a result of that. Some people say, well, this is one of those government programs. But again, this is a program that rewards work. The Earned Income Tax Credit program rewards work. And I think that that is something that every single person in this room can agree upon.
If you worked in 2001 and earned money, find out if you're eligible. If you raised one child and earned less than $28,281, you can get an Earned Income Tax Credit up to $2,428. If you raised more than one child, earned less than $32,121, you could get up to $4,008. Even with no children, if your income was below $10,710, you can get a credit up to $364. Investment income is limited to $2,400. Adults and children must have Social Security numbers. In 1999, the average federal earned income credit was $1,828. The average state credit, $318.
We have three components to our coalition. We have an awareness component where simply we're asking people to spread the word to your employees, to your neighbors, to your friends. Talk to your company about EITC, Earned Income Tax Credits. Let people know about it. Let people who have earned it claim it. That's the simple thing, just getting the information out. We also have 13 VITA sites, volunteer income tax sites, that we will be operating with the IRS, which is a part of our team. We also want you to understand that we don't just stop there, because the real goal is to help people build assets.
This is the middle of the tax season. This is a chance for people to take a tax break that they're entitled to. It's a time when volunteers are in place, when the IRS is all set up to help people with this, and we can make it happen. It doesn't cost anybody anything to claim except for one thing. You have to work to get it. This is the Earned Income Tax Credit. So we're not talking about some handout to somebody. It's something they have to earn. And so I encourage everybody that's here today and people that aren't here today, that should be here today, to spread the word.
One reason people may not be claiming the credit is fear of all those tax forms. They aren't all easy, and they can be confusing. If you are among those who aren't quite sure how to handle Form 1040, Schedule D, Line 13, Column F, or other forms and directions, there is free help available. Because it's necessary to file more than a short form to claim the credit, volunteers from such groups as VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program sponsored by IRS, provide free general assistance to low-income families in filing state and federal forms, some for people who speak Hmong or Spanish. Center Street Library Site Coordinator Monica Brady has been helping out for 7 years.
I'm involved in it because I believe in community. I've been a City of Milwaukee resident for 27 years, and I've raised my 2 children here, and I believe it's a great place to live, and I should give something back to the community. So I don't think sacrificing 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday is a big deal, and I am very fulfilled when I walk out of here and see how many people we have helped at the end of the tax season.
What does it mean to them that folks like you are here to help out?
They are They really appreciate us, the fact that they realize that we are volunteers, and most of these people are low income and they cannot really afford the $100 or more dollars that they would have to pay a preparer to do their earned income credit return, the schedules that go with the 1040A or the 1040. So they know the savings they are getting by using our service. For us preparers, it's kind of simple, but for the average person, you know, one thing I noticed with this year, the earned income credit tax table used to be in either the 1040A or the 1040 booklets, but now it's a separate book by itself. So instead of looking at one book, now you have to look in two booklets to get the different tax credits.
What would you say to people to come in and look at it and take advantage of it?
I would encourage them to come in and let us go through the process of completing the tax form, and they will never know what their refund is going to be unless they have someone to do it for them.
Well, I have been knowing about it about a year now. This is my second year being on it, and it does help out for people that's, you know, low income, that need, you know, help from the governor, and I think it's wonderful, you know. It does help to get things that you need, you know, for your children, so I think it's great.
Do you think enough people know about it, or what would you tell people?
No, I don't think enough people know about it because some people cannot get out. That's who's really disabled and to wheelchairs. And I think some of us need to visit a home, to those who can't get out here like myself, you know. Go to the home and visit and help them.
And what we did with the money, you know, earned income credit they give, not to me, but my children, was very appreciative, you know, and what we did with that money is took care of our bills and took care of our children to the best of our ability and our knowledge.
To check on the times and dates of other sites for free help in preparing and filing your taxes, check the hotline of the Milwaukee Asset Building Coalition, 265-7598, or the Community Information Line, 773-0211. We'll give those numbers again later. It's first come, first served at the sites, but volunteers try to take care of everyone who asks for help.
The program has been a success because we have many retired individuals, as you can see here, volunteering. We are here until the last filing date in April, so we will help people if they come around to get assistance. And although we're supposed to be here for 3 hours from 9:30 to 12:30, we will not turn anyone away.